is
because, so we started a pep band. So we had the state champion concert band, no
That's what we
marching
need to
band.
talk about. That's what
Yeah.
we
We
think
have
DOTD might have equipment.
We started the football team. That's the only reason I
That's one
stayed
other
at
thing.
McLean.
Okay.
I was leaving going to St. Aug or back to Newman
Okay.
to play
Got it.
high
It's
school
something
football.
like
Right.
And then they put up a flyer when I was in 8th grade,
Cool.
Bertha McLean.
Are you
football.
good?
I was like, I can play varsity at 13 years
Oh,
old.
wow.
I'm gonna stay here. So that's what I did.
You'll
You're
have to
gonna
leave
stay-
for this meeting.
Yeah, you're gonna stay for pension. He's been telling me.
We're going.
So-
Who's the third? Who's who? Let me have.
She's here. She went to grab coffee.
Oh, she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I just saw her in the parking lot. Yeah.
she went to grab coffee or something. So, yeah.
So this is
So, yeah.
our ADA,
Hey, good morning.
last board meeting, they passed the.
Yeah, those are some days. I was this close to signing with Southern Miss.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for that email.
I didn't go.
Yeah, look at those numbers. It kind of makes sense. I think they're
Yeah, so we.
they're already in a
I
different
actually went to
mindset.
Southern.
Yeah.
My cousin.
May have been overlooked for a while. Yeah. I thought you knew, sorry.
I will call the Sewage and Water Board Finance Administration Committee meeting to order. Special counsel, please call the roll.
Director Sloss? Director Howard? Director Pacho? Here. Director Guzman?
Here.
Director Kennedy?
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. We have one presentation item, financial summary update. Mr. Gray Lewis. Ray Lewis, our CFO. Will you please proceed?
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share an update, many current events, and I want to start off by just talking about the audit. We finished, let's see if I can forward it. Finished the audit the last week of June, so very, very happy to report that. It was done ahead of the deadline. The Eisner Ampner is our auditors. There's 3 different audit opinions. They issued the clean opinions for the financial statement audit, the single audit, and the state agreed upon procedures. So just some minor comments in terms of their formal comments on documentation and policies and some things to improve, which we expect in any formal audit to have some comments and room for improvement. So we've already been working with our chief audit executive on those items, and then there'll be a full presentation to the audit committee in September. We wanted to let the Finance Administration Committee know about that significant event being wrapped up. The entire 161-page annual report was submitted to the state on the 27th, and then it will get posted. Once it gets accepted by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, we make it publicly available. So we'll send that out to you all later this month. And then also noteworthy, the final debt covenant ratios for our general bond agreement were above the minimum thresholds, well in excess of those targets, as we report every month to the Finance Committee. So glad to be able to report that as well. Let's see here jump into, have to forward it along here for me. If we could go to the next slide. In May, I'll just make some high-level comments on our numbers for the month. Operating revenues were $23.3 million for the water and sewer, so that was just below the budget, and year-to-date, we're at $111 million for our operating revenues. The May millage revenues were $31.4 million.
Can we get an update on what's going on?
It was a technical error.
Yeah, we'll let her catch up the slides.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here I'm just speaking to the system level, the top level numbers. The $23.3 million, as I mentioned, was the operating revenues for the month. And our drainage millage revenues were $31.4 million, so that was catching up. April was very low, if you recall. So now year-to-date for drainage taxes, we're at $57.3 million ahead of the budgeted amount. Our operating expenses were $28.2 million, below the conservatively set budget of $33.5 million, and that's a combination of the lower non-cash expenses as well as some of the salaries and payroll-related benefits are lower due to vacancies and other timing differences. Next, I wanted to highlight on cash collections. The month of May was $23.0 million. June, I just got the information. It was a low month, dropped to $19.1 million. But on the positive side, we are seeing with the Promise Pay launch, this is now month 5, really getting into, we've collected $3.6 million from the new system that we have for customers to sign up for interest-free payment plans. There's $23.9 million scheduled in the future by our customers, and about a 91% retention rate in the first 5 months of the program. So we're pleased with the results there, continue to encourage customers. We've put a web link on the front page of our website that any customers can sign up for those. And then on the next slide where we're...
Great. Just a quick, any reason for that drop in June to 19 million from
haven't been able to understand exactly the seasonality of why that is, but if take a look into it further, see if we can understand if there's a particular driver. So on our customer receivables, on a total basis, we've reduced it slightly to 125.6 million, but we do see an increase in the past due category, the 71.4 million, so it's gone up. And we have our receivables project is kicking off Monday with Protiviti. We're going to be asking them for their guidance and help in categorizing the customers into different categories to really address the root cause of why they're so far behind. But we do see a driver within the amounts dollars under investigation has gone down as we've reduced the number of open investigations, closing out old investigations. So that number is reporting 6.2 million. That was closer to 17 million a few months ago. So as those get moved out of the under investigation category, it's now taken one step forward into just a regular category to where we can try and adjudicate that with the customer and get them on a payment plan. Closed accounts receivable also went up about $1.5 million. But overall, again, we're leading into this Protiviti project is going to start next week with those outside consultants. On the customer investigations, which is at the bottom, as I mentioned, the total accounts in dispute was lower the previous month, 1,289 at the end of May, down, that was 2,200 at the end of April. And then the average days to complete the investigation request is also lower, which is good for our customers. It was at 49 days on average for the month of May. Our next slide is just the breakout of the customer arrearages by size and customer class. You pretty much, in each of these categories, the numbers went up for between April and May, getting back to that 71.4 million. On our next slide on the dashboard, I just want to highlight two things. The days cash on hand at the end of May was 182 water, 168 for sewer. And our, as I mentioned earlier, our final audited for the end of December 2023 were also in excess of our targets. And then the line 25, number of new payment plans, it didn't have this number earlier, but it's for the month was 1,491 added through Promise Pay, and our total, as of the first week of July, number of customers on Promise Pay payment plans, 10,229 of those. So again, we're encouraging all our customers to go that route. In terms of convenience, user-friendly, and ability to set it up and knock out any past debt. I'll move on to the long-term debt obligations. No significant changes this month under long-term debt. And then our capital improvement plan slide was 4 changes Steve's going to address. None of these are impacting our current year's spending plan for CIP, so we continue to progress on the major programs, which is shown here on this next slide. For the month of May, we had 22 million of capital disbursements, 57.45 million of new appropriations, and that was primarily in the sewer for the month of May, and that's the last sewer consent decree contract that has been issued. So we're very happy to continue to be on track with that deadline for next year for the consent decree. On grants, we received 2.5 million for the month of May. The same 3 major grant programs are managed by our project delivery team. So continuing with that. Customer experience, we had 51,979 customers were served through the regular channels. And we have our regular graphs. And then on this graph, I want to just mention to the committee, highlight, we had a total number of bills issued for the month of May, 146,524, which is lower than last month, but the percentage actual came back up 53%. Those are bills based on actual reads after a lower month of 39% in April. So that bounced back as we expected it would. And then payments for the month of May were $122,925, which again is positive results from the Promise Pay program. And like I mentioned, we've added that to the front page of our website for easiest access as possible. So with that, I'm happy to answer any additional questions on the financials.
Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much, Gray. Next, we have 4 action items. Steve Nelson, our superintendent, please proceed.
All right. Thank you very much. Fairly short agenda. We have 3 contract change orders by ratification and 1 contract amendment. And I'll read through those, and we can ask questions individually, discuss, and then vote in globo.
Yeah,
Is that
we'll
correct,
do the
council?
in global for the first 3.
Perfect. All right, the first change order is Resolution R0102-2024. This is a ratification of change order number 1 for contract 30247. This is for the restoration of gravity flow sanitary sewers for excavation and replacement of, from manhole to manhole, CIPP lining from manhole to manhole, CIPP lining of service laterals, point repairs at various locations throughout the city of New Orleans between the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans and CMG Pipelines, Inc. The base contract was awarded in January of this year. There were 2 major repairs that were needed under this contract. The first was at Sewer Pump Station D. We had a failure of a force main at Sewer Pump Station D last year that caused us to have to pump sewage to the river for about a month. We had a failure on that line closer to the railroad tracks again this year, and rather than try and excavate adjacent to the railroad tracks or continue pumping, which is costing us $30,000 to $50,000 a year, we opted to execute a permanent repair. The Corps is bidding out the work to do a full replacement of those lines around that station later this year. But in the meantime, we don't want to continue to have issues with this pipe. The second repair was at Lafitte and Galvez. This is a bend in a sewer line that has broken numerous times over the last 5 to 6 years, twice in my 18 months here. And so rather than have, we were unable to execute another point repair. When we dug the pipe up, the steel was so corroded, we had nothing to weld to. And so we were able to use this contract vehicle. The scope fits under this contract vehicle, but these are large dollar amounts. This is in the amount of $3.2 million. And what this will do will be to allow us to complete sewer point repairs as the year goes on. We've had, unfortunately, minimal DBE participation to this point on those 2 repairs because they're DBE subs. They have an equipment supplier and then also a paving supplier. And these 2 repairs, one was in an unpaved area, and the second has a little bit of paving, and C&M, the DBE sub, will complete that paving, but relative to the overall amount, it's fairly small. The second change order is relative to Resolution R103-2024. This is a ratification of change order number 7 for contract 1417, static frequency converter procurement between the procurement project. We do have a clerical error here. I will not read that next part. We will get that fixed for the full board meeting. And this is between the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans and Walter J. Barnes and Company, Inc. This is simply a transfer of our transformers from contract 1420 to 1417. So it's a net zero. We will be pulling the cost and the scope from contract 1420 and placing it in this contract. It's easier from a coordination and installation standpoint. And the final change order is related to Resolution R105-2024, and this is ratification of change order number 1 for contract 30233. This is our Carrollton Basin number 4 sewer rehabilitation contract. This is the final change order for this contract relative to our Sewer System Evaluation and Rehabilitation Program, or SERP. This is between the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans and Hard Rock Construction, LLC. This is a final cleanup change order that will add drainage items and additional sewer repairs that were discovered during construction. The amount of this change order is $1.8 million, and they have not been able to meet their DBA participation goal of 51%, but this will be the final change order and will allow us to complete the project. Are there any questions? Yes.
going back to resolution 102/2024.
Yes.
The 3.2 million is coming from where?
General fund at this point. Gray, we
The
discussed that.
sewer system pay-go allocation for 2024.
And resolution 105/2024. What, if anything, can be done with regard to the DBE lack of meeting a specified percentage?
I'll have to talk to our project manager on that project specifically and see what the exact reason for not meeting our goal was and make sure that those SERP program projects that are in our final basin are working to meet those goals.
That's not an issue of not having contractors, DBE contractors available, or what?
Well, it can be related to the scope of work. So if we have a lot of CIPP lining, there aren't a lot of DBE contractors that perform CIPP lining. So a lot of times we'll see pavement restoration or some of those other services. So in this case, it looks like we had specialty work that wasn't DBE heavy, but I will check into this specific project.
And we can have the DBE director follow up. If a contractor has not reached its DBE goal, that is worked through the DBE director. And so we can have her follow up with you as,
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. May I have a motion to approve change order ratification resolutions R102/2024, R103/2024, R105/2024 in global? Moved by Director Guzman, second by Director Pacho. Any other discussion? Any public comment?
no public comment.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries for resolutions R102/2024, R103/2024, R105/2024. Next, we have one contract amendment that we discussed.
Very good. This is the last action item we've got under this group. This is contract amendment, Resolution R104/2024, Amendment Number 8 to the agreement between the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans and ECM Consultants, Inc. for design and engineering services for the waterline replacement program. This is an eighth amendment relative to an additional amount of time required for the contract. As this FEMA program extended, we had additional need for inspection and design services.
Great. May we have a motion to approve resolution R104/2024?
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? Public comment?
Madam Chair.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved for resolution R104/2024. We have 3 information items for committee members to review. Our standard reporting. Are there any public comments?
We have no in-person public comments, and we have no virtual comments that are supposed to be received 2 hours prior to the meeting. And so we have no comments virtually or in person, Chair.
Thank you. And with that, can we get a motion to adjourn? So moved. Moved by Director Pacho, seconded by Director Guzman. Thank you very much.